Hello there, this is Sheila with Stamping Wishes and welcome to my studio. What you see here is a couple of my demonstrators and I are doing a craft show in a couple of weeks, and this is one of the items we have in our craft show. And I actually did this as a project at one of my stamp camps earlier this year, and it was a big hit and I had some leftovers, so that's what we decided to do. So what it is there's a magnet attached to behind inside the oval, and so you can make any design you want to for change out. So we have one of course here for a birthday, so if it's somebody's birthday month or whatever, you can put that in. Or we've got our February, March, Easter, March, 4th of July, Halloween, fall, and Christmas, and of course there's many others you could do as well. But anyway, I wanted to see if I could come up, we had some bags to put the projects in when we saw them. And what other is nifty about this is back behind here is where we keep them stored. Because it's magnetic, they all will stay attached to it, so when you're not using them, they're back here all together, and then whenever you need them, you just take and pull which one you want out and go from there. So what we have is I thought a gift box would be kind of nifty to have for whoever purchases it if they would like one. And I happened to see, I think it was Sam Donaldson's, Samantha, but she goes by Sam. I want to say it's Poodle something, but I can't think of what it is, but I think of her as Sam Donaldson. Anyway, she had done this box, and when I saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, that's probably the perfect size for it. So I played around with it, and sure enough it was. And so thank you, Sam, for the idea. And so I'm going to use her measurements and design it the way I think it would be cute for these boxes. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, so you're going to need two pieces. They're 8 inches by 11 inches. And let's go ahead and score them, because you're going to do everything the same on each one of them. So this first one here, and let's see which one I've got the score marks on, because I tried to write it down since I don't always remember everything that I'm doing on this, but it's fairly easy because you're going to score it at, on the long side, this is your 11.5 inch, you're going to score it at 3 inches, and you're going to score it at 10.5 inches. Whoop. Okay, and then you're going to turn it around and score it at 3 inches. Alright, and then we're going to do the same thing with this one. So we're going to do the 3 inches. And since it's kind of hard for me to get over to the other side there, I'm going to turn this around and do this at a 1/2 inch here. It's easier for me to do it from the left side. And then we're going to turn it around and do it at 3 inches. Okay. Alright, so let's set this aside, and we'll do the top a little separately, but let's go ahead and get this cut and put together, and then we'll work on the top. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is to come in here, and we're going to cut up this score line. Get it lined up here. There we go. And we're going to wedge it. And we'll wedge it on this side as well. Okay, and then on this little end down here, we're just going to go ahead and wedge it here, because we're going to cut out this end of it here. Okay, and all of the measurements, scores, and everything will be on my screen and also on my blog as well, so you'll be able to get everything you need there. Okay, so we want to come in here and do it the same way we did the other. Okay, and we want to come it up here, and then we want to wedge this out and wedge this one out. Okay. So let's go ahead and burnish the edges of these real quick, and then we'll put our DSP on it and put the bottom of the box together. Okay, the same way with this one here. Alright, so let's go ahead and get... Alright, so after everything is cut out, then what we're going to do is put some adhesive, and I am going to use the glue because I feel like there again I have room to maneuver, or you could use tear and tape, whichever you're more comfortable with. So we're going to line this right up here and seal that down. Make sure it's all together. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put our DSP on this before we close it up. So you need, for this section here, you're going to need 2, and each one of those measures 7 1/4 by 4 3/4, and we're going to place those right in these positions here. And make sure when you're laying these out that you pay attention if you have a direction on them, because in this case, if I were to glue it, let's say for example this way, it's going to be upside down because this is the top of the box and this is the bottom, so you want to kind of watch for that. And then of course this will go here and that will go there. So let's go ahead and adhere this. Alright, so once you have the pieces together, then what you're going to do is bring this over and we're going to seal it right like this, okay? So let's go ahead and put our adhesive on here. And bring this over and make sure it all lines up nicely at the edge. There we go. And since these have a tendency sometimes to leak out a little bit of your glue, but I think we're okay on this one. And I'm going to go ahead and again, just to make sure that it's all down, I'm just taking my bone folder and smoothing that out. Alright, so then you have these pieces here that'll go down, and this will go down, and then this one will go down. And it can be, you know, your front or your back, depending on which direction you want it. Now, if you want to, which I like to do, is I like to see that these are tacked down to this. Or to this one, whichever one you choose to take over. They both square off about the same. So what I'm going to do is take this, and then I'm going to bring my hand up underneath, oops, so that whenever I close this up, again I want to make sure it's squared off and that those little flaps are down. Okay, so that's what I'm doing there. Alright, so when we get done with that, this is when we'll bring our tear and tape in, and we'll put a strip right across here. Grab my tearing tape. Alright, so let's go ahead and bring that across here. And if you want a nice tight closure, you can go ahead and put it on both sections, which I would like to see this nicely supported, and since it would have a, not a heavy, but a metal object in there, I should say. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure all of that squares down, and then there we go. All right, isn't that precious? Okay, so that's the bottom of our box. Now we'll set that aside, bring the score back in, because on our lid we're going to want to go at 1 and I believe it was, let me check my measurements. Yeah, we're going to score 1.5 all the way around. And again, this piece measures 6 by 10.5 inches. And again, I'll have all of your measurements and scores and everything. I'm going to go ahead and erase this one. I've got it here. That's the way it won't show through on any of the items. Okay, so when you put it up against here, because this all has to go over the box, you want to pull it out just a smidgen, you know, maybe not even a full, but about the width of the stylus there, and come in at your 1.5 inch. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to back it up just a little bit, come at 1.5 inch, and back it up just a little bit, come to your 1.5 inch again. And then the last one, we're going to back it up a little bit and come in at your 1.5 inch. So now you've got all your scoring done for this piece. So let's go ahead and cut our pieces here. And again, what we do here will be done the same on this side. So we're going to come in here next to the score line and wedge it. And then we're going to go ahead and wedge this side as well. And then come into this one here. And then we're going to come up and wedge it. And then wedge it on this side as well. Let's get those out of the way. Okay, do the same thing on this side. We're going to come up here and wedge it. And then wedge it again here. And then the same thing on the last one. We'll come in here, right next to the score line, and wedge it there, and give it a wedge there. All right, so now let's go ahead and put our pieces on here. And these pieces are going to, the centerpiece here is going, and we can do it this way, which I think would be real cute. Look, let's look at this. If we kind of had the stripes coming into it. And I purposely used cherry cobbler paper instead of the real red, because if you notice they have the two shadings in here, and the deeper red was the cherry cobbler, it looked like to me anyway. But you really could have used any color combination. Pool party, I see spruce here. Gosh, that looks like the grapefruit here. I mean, there are just so many different colors you could have used here. This looks like blueberry bushel. So there's a lot of different color combination boxes you can go do. So I think we're going to turn this over on this one and make our lid on the striped side. Okay, so after this one, which measured 4 3/4, I'm sorry, 7 1/4 by 2 3/4, you're going to have these longer pieces, which are 1 1/4 by 7 1/4, that are going to lay out here and lay out here. And then for this side here, you're going to have, and had I thought through this, I would have had my stripes going that way, but that's okay. We're going to have these two that measure 1 1/4 by 2 3/4. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere this on. Okay, so after you finish placing all of your decorative designer paper onto your lid, you'll want to get your tear and tape and tape the side pieces like I'm doing here. And then we'll take and remove the side pieces and start putting the corners together, squaring them off with the side. And then our lid will be done. So let's go ahead and finish this up. Let's go ahead and burnish those to make sure they're good and tight. So when we take our tool, let's put that over there. Let's see what I did with that tool. Here it is. Take these off. Alright, so now let's go ahead and come in here on the sides and square these off real nicely and then seal them down. Okay. So let's see, hopefully it fits real nicely. And see, it's got a real nice, good fit to it. So what I would do in this case is put some tissue paper down there, place the project in there, and we'll have them available at the show where the boxes and ribbon will be there, and they can, if they decide that they want us to go ahead and tie up their package, then we'll go ahead and do that. And we can do it from this side like so. So let's leave us enough room for our bow. And this is that runched ribbon. It's so pretty. Perfect for this kind of a project, I think. So we got a pretty bow, and I'll probably end up trimming this off, but I'm going to wait before I do any kind of trimming. And then we have that stamp set that makes all of those greetings for the different seasons. So I could use a greeting like this along with some of my baker's twine. Put that right up there, and it is ready to go. Isn't that gorgeous? All right. Until next time, happy creating and God bless.